Hey everyone, Jacob Wuwert from the National Sports Media Association. I'm here today with the Georgia 2022 Sports Writer of the Year, David O'Brien. Congratulations on the award and thank you for being here today.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Awesome. How did you get started in the business?
I don't know, man. It's been a long time. Love sports and writing came easy. So it was just a natural thing. I started writing for my high school paper, and it was really the only thing I've ever done because it came easily, and in school writing was easy, and I love sports. So I think it was probably the same for a lot of sports writers.
Mhm.
That's how it happened.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once I realized in
Mhm.
college that money wasn't going to be the deciding factor in what I did for a living, I majored in journalism because you certainly do
Awesome.
it to make a lot of money.
Awesome. What do you think separates you from your peers?
Um, I guess being able to tell a human side of stories more than more so as I've gotten older, especially understanding that those make much better stories than just writing the nuts and bolts about games or about how good a person is. When you can bring readers into the human side of the person and show a side of them that they can't see, that they don't know about just watching on TV or hearing, the typical generic stories about them or what they're saying on the television about them. Just trying to show a human side, something that people don't see otherwise.
Awesome. How did you get to where you are right now currently?
Just working hard at it for a long time and just kept getting the next job. I've stayed at one paper I stayed at the Fort Lauderdale Sun Sentinel for 13 and a half years, stayed at the Atlanta Journal-Constitution for 18 years, and I've been at the Athletic for 4 years. So I don't like to move around a lot. I didn't use one as a client, I didn't you look at jobs as a means to get to another job. Instead, I focused on just working hard and trying to be when all the job cuts and layoff cuts came in the journalism industry at newspapers, I just tried to make myself not expendable, stayed in
Mhm.
beats as a beat writer instead of moving over to, a national baseball writer or some of those jobs that got cut. I stayed as a beat writer, which a lot of people don't see as glamorous, but I love doing it. I love the routine of the same job, going to talk to the people that you develop relationships, that kind of thing. That's what I like about doing a beat.
Awesome. And I know you already answered this question a bit, really, but what inspired you to get on this path?
Like I said, I love sports. I've watched sports as a kid. I played sports as a kid, all the main sports. The big sports at the time, growing up in North Carolina, football, baseball, basketball. And then when I started running, I kind of abandoned those, but I still loved them. I just didn't participate anymore because I was pretty good at running. So I just focused on running, track, and cross country. But I always loved watching basketball, football, baseball. And like I said, writing just came natural. It does for some people and it doesn't for other people, but it's not really a skill you can teach to a certain degree. The basics of it, yeah, you can teach, but as far as it coming naturally and writing with any kind of a flow or whatever, I think that's more you're born with it or you're not.
Yeah. Who would you say you look up to in the sports writing business?
Oh, there's so many. There's been so many over the years. I wouldn't even want to. One of them that just died, Rick Hummel, the commish, the St. Louis Post dispatch writer, was one of my heroes, one of the guys that helped me a lot when I was first starting out. There's others that were helping me a lot. I look at them as guys I admire a lot, like Hal McCoy in Cincinnati, guys like that. Gordon Eads, who got me into baseball when I was working at the Sun Sentinel in Fort Lauderdale. He was covering the baseball. I was covering football at the time, and he taught me into splitting the beat with him. So, there's a lot of guys like that. A lot of guys. Tom Boswell with the Washington Post, they're retired now, I think. There's been a lot of really good baseball writers, and then guys like at Sports Illustrated. I grew up reading Sports Illustrated. It was the Bible for so many years, and so I read all those guys all the time. The Gary Smiths, the Frank DeFors, those guys were, I just put those guys on a pedestal.
Awesome. Last question I have. What advice do you have for students or young people like me who want to go into this business?
Don't. No, I mean, I say that half seriously. Newspapers are not what they used to be as far as the job stability. There's a lot of doom and
Mhm.
gloom. There's a lot of always worrying about, where the next budget cuts are going to come. Are they going to stay, 7 days a week print, that kind of thing. So newspapers is tough.
Mhm.
It's a tough gig, man. So you better get into it knowing that it could change. It's not the way it was when I got into it. Newspapers were rock solid. I mean, there was nothing that was the most solid industry going. But journalism in general, I think there'll always be a job in journalism. I know AI and all that. People wonder if they're going to take over, and they're going to take over some of the jobs. There's no doubt that as far as just producing generic game stories, but there's always going to be a place for people to tell stories about human beings doing sports. So I think the number one advice would be to work just work hard, especially when you're young. Don't expect to get the time off that you're due. Don't expect to work 40 hours a week because you're going to have to work a lot more than that. Don't expect to get paid for every hour you work because you're not going to. And don't expect to get rich doing this job because you're not going to. That's not why you should do it. You should do it because you love writing. You love being
Mhm.
around sports, but especially you love telling stories. You love writing.
Mhm. Awesome. Well, thank you for your time today. And again, congratulations on your award.
You got it. Thank you.